here's the thing. For everybody listening, don't make the same mistake the Bengals just did in any facet of your life.
People are going to get hurt. It's the hockey season.
What about the Jared Cook play on the sideline?
I was very tempted to just put defense.
I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
Come on, Austin and I've been saying this ever since Joe Burrow got injured.
I don't really think the Dodgers are going to make the World Series this year. I feel like they'll make it to the NLCS.
The Fernando Tatis extension, because that really surprised me.
Like you said, Ovechkin, he's getting older. He hasn't been playing as well as I imagined. He's one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, but he hasn't started off this season as hot as I would hope.
Hi, I'm Jeff Allen, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. Once again, free agency has just started, but before free agency just started, Geno Smith, it actually happened after I recorded with Austin for another one of our videos. But Austin, I sent you the text. The Geno Smith trade is wild.
Yeah, you're right. It is. I remember you texting me, and I'd like to see what you think about what they're trying to do this year, because I probably disagree. I'm kind of looking at it a different way than a lot of other people are, but I'm interested to see how you view this trade and what they're intending to do with the Pete Carroll signing and all this other stuff.
Ooh, I'm intrigued to hear what you say, because how I view it is they're trying to win now. And part of that is they went and signed Alex Kappa. They're investing in the offensive line. They have a quarterback, because I thought the Raiders were going to look for the future at that number 6 pick. But now that I think more about it, it looks like they want to compete now. They kind of want to put everything together, bringing in Pete Carroll, someone that he's familiar with Geno Smith. They could still take a quarterback, but I don't view that as the immediate thing. Kind of just how we viewed Geno Smith with the Seahawks before, of like, okay, well, they have this good contract where they could get someone younger. But I view the Raiders as a team that's trying to compete now with the Chiefs, get back into the playoffs, get into relevancy again. And I view, based on what they've done, I think they're going to take Genty. Genty's a strong pick for them at number 6. So I view it as they're making moves to compete this season with the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos.
Yeah, there's two ways, I think. I think they keep their pick and still draft a QB, and they go a Falcons route, where they are deciding, hey, we're going to bring in a elder statesman QB, a QB who's been a multi-time Pro Bowler and has had success recently. But I don't know if you've heard, but the Seahawks, Geno requested a trade with the Seahawks because they were encountering impasses during contract negotiations for the future. Well, they still have, or Geno and the Raiders have yet to come to a contract agreement. So I do think that they may draft a QB and just have this be a Geno, you're the guy this year, but we're going to draft a QB to stick behind you, and that guy is going to learn and grow behind you. And I could definitely see them doing that. The other option I see is, instead of taking a Genty type player, is trading down and trying to build an offensive line, because that's still a big problem that they have.
Yeah, so talking about that contract, okay, I thought he had signed a 3-year contract with them. Or maybe
No, I haven't seen anything about that. I keep seeing that he hasn't signed, and that they're...
Okay, maybe it was the Seahawks, I think, were trying to extend him, and maybe they offered the similar deal to Darnold. So, yeah, I thought it was a 3-year deal. But, yeah, they could go quarterback.
This one posted 13 hours ago by Pro Football Talk. Raiders and Geno have yet to reach a new contract.
Okay, so the 3-year deal must have been with what they've...
That's what the Seahawks had given him before, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Huh. But yeah, so that makes sense. They could trade down as well, because I think there are some quarterbacks that they can get in the second round. You mentioned the Steelers in the Steelers video yesterday. Jackson Dart. Twin Ears is another guy to me. So that could be it as well. But, okay, so do you view this as them competing now, or just kind of
not competing, but I think this is going to be a Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins type of situation. Geno will be the starter this year, but I believe that they draft a QB. That's my prediction of what happens.
Got it. Yeah, and that makes sense given the 1-year deal, and they could go off and sign more people. But yeah, it was shocking to me just because I thought the Raiders were just going to go one route. But you could also see what in the past with Pete Carroll, and Geno Smith has really worked well with Pete Carroll. So it could also be a guy setting the culture for Pete Carroll, and he doesn't have to work with a rookie. So I'm also intrigued. How does Chip Kelly use Geno Smith? Because I forgot Chip Kelly is the offensive coordinator for the Raiders.
Yeah, he is. So that will be something to look out for, and I'm definitely excited to see how this ends up working because they're in an interesting spot. And I mean, signing Pete Carroll, he's an older coach, and that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to stop coaching next year, but the timeline is extremely short, right? Like it's next 5 years at the max. So I think that the best way to contend is a QB on a rookie deal. I think we talked about that before, but I think to start that out, you have a young QB learn behind Geno. Geno is a true professional, a very good QB, and he can teach a lot about the game. And he has experience with Pete Carroll. And then after this 1 year, we'll see. It depends on how Geno plays, but I think after that, it'd be a QB from this draft starting.
Yeah, and that's something definitely more of the Darnold situation because Darnold was a 1-year deal, or maybe a mix of Darnold and Cousins because Cousins was a long-term deal. This Geno deal, if they don't extend him for another 2 or 3 years, really makes sense with, okay, we have a guy to compete now, as you were talking about. Now we can go into the future. But yeah, and I do agree with the Pete Carroll signing. We want to compete now, not really build up for the future. Kind of what the Lions did with Dan Campbell, where it took them a little bit, but he was ready to put in the steps. Pete Carroll's a guy that knows what to do, and he is on that. He is older, so he may want to retire later. But we'll have to see. But definitely a new or a different way of building a team and getting them back into the playoffs. You can maybe go the Sean Payton route, but they did have Russ, and then they drafted a quarterback. But kind of bringing in a guy to help get your team back to the playoffs as soon as you can versus building up a team. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. So you think they draft a quarterback at 6?
Yes.
Or okay.
Yes. That or even trade up.
Ooh, trade up. Wow. Ooh. I'm going to say they take Genty. And then I think they draft someone in the 2nd, 3rd round in the quarterbacks department.
We'll see.
So, yeah, that's kind of let us know your thoughts on the Raiders. We appreciate you listening and be on the lookout for more. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, share the podcast. We appreciate that. Hit the bell for notifications. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.